Hi, this is Scott Garibay, and today we're going to talk about Dungeons & Dragons, and we're going to talk about Phandelver and Below, the Shattered Obelisk, the brand new canon Dungeons & Dragons canon hardback, 224 pages long, which is really fascinating. We're going to have a robust, spoiler-filled discussion of Chapter 7. We're almost to the end. We're almost to Chapter 8, but we're going to have a robust spoiler discussion of Chapter 7. But first I wanted to just talk about the length of the book. So I just received the physical book. And, so I've been reading it on D&D Beyond. But boy, is it always a sigh of relief when I get the physical book, because it's just so much better. So I now know what the length of the book is. That's one of the problems with the book as it exists on D&D Beyond. You really never have any idea how long it is, right? Or how long it's going to take to read, because it doesn't have traditional page counts, right? So it's 224 pages long. This is important. This is very important, because we now realize that Dungeons & Dragons is now shortening its books. Its books are getting shorter and shorter. Almost the last book I think that was 256 pages was Dragonlance Shadow of the Dragon Queen. Everything else has been less than the traditional 256 pages. And so Glory, Big B Presents Glory of the Giants was 196. This is 224. And so these books are getting shorter, all right? So, and I'm all for that. I think it's fantastic for a whole bunch of reasons. One, Hasbro's getting paid more fairly. They have been getting underpaid for D&D canon hardbacks every day they've ever made a D&D canon hardback. People pay $60 for ridiculous video games that won't even give a tenth of the value that you would get out of any of these D&D canon hardbacks. And so the reality is they always should have been $99.99 to $500 in my opinion. So by making a shorter product, it lets them release more frequently or at higher quality, whichever they choose, and it lowers their print costs. And in addition to that, it attracts more non-geniuses, which is a problem we have in D&D. I actually think Dungeons & Dragons is only attractive to incredibly charismatic, confident, intelligent people. And we need to reach muggles. We need to reach non-charismatic, non-confident, non-intelligent people more. It's important. And I know a lot of people would agree with that, but you're wrong. So let's get into spoilers for Chapter 7. So at this point, the player characters have defeated the Mind Flayer Mastermind, Kun Braxel, okay? And everything, and they're like, okay, we defeated this Mind Flayer, but now we realize he was under Phandelver, right? Now we have to go into the Underdark to Illithinoch, right? Where there are even more Mind Flayers, okay? And these Mind Flayers are seizing power from pieces of the Netherese obelisk, which has been shattered, right? They're gathering these pieces. Each piece gives them incredible power, magical power. And they're using that power to corrupt Phandelver, to warp the flesh of the people who live there, to warp the minds of the people who live there, to warp the spirit of the people who live there, right? And only the player characters can stop this, right? There's no one else, right? No one is coming to save you. Dungeons & Dragons is more based every day. All right, so basically, so they realize they've got to stop this. So they have to go, so at this point, they go to the Mind Flayers who are in Illithinoch, which is in the Underdark. And now at this point, the players have gone from above the ground near Phandelver to beneath Phandelver to the Underdark. And now, and specifically within the Underdark, they reach Illithinoch, which is an ancient Mind Flayer headquarters. Okay, and now it has been set up as a temple essentially to Illithinoch, right? Who the Mind Flayers worship. Okay, so they reach Illithinoch, and they find at Illithinoch that even this is not the center of the real cause of all this chaos, all this violence, all this loss, all this death that is raining down on Phandelver. that source is coming from the Far Realm. And the Far Realm is beyond Phandalin, beyond beneath Phandalin, beyond the Underdark, beyond Illithinoch, all the way to the Farm Realm. And this is a realm that is populated by the Mind Flayers and natively, and by their god, Ilvanash, right? And so the players realize they're going to have to go through these rifts and actually go all the way to the Far Realm. And they also realize, to this point, there have been some people in Phandalin who appreciate their help and are helping them every time they go back up to Phandalin, right? And they've been going forward and dealing with all these things and doing these things to help the people of Phandalin. But now they have to go into the heart of danger itself. They have to go all the way to the Farm Realm, which is not even on Faerun, right? The Underdark at least is on Faerun, right? But when they reach the Far Realm, they will no longer even be on their own plane of existence, right? And this is frightening. And they have to go all this way, right? And they will have no allies there. It will be on them to defeat creatures who are outrageously powerful, deadly, warped, and dangerous. So this is the setting before we go into Chapter 8 of Phandelver and Below, the Shattered Obelisk. Every single word of that is my opinion on Phandelver and Below and the Shattered Obelisk. What's important is when I get to hear your opinion. I'd love to hear your thoughts. Let me know in the comments below. Please consider liking and subscribing, and have a wonderful millennium.